Hey Capricorn, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be doing your first half of virginal reading here. Let's talk about the meditation I just had for y'all. So I saw the image. I will try to explain like exactly what I saw. I saw the image of, it was like a clay wording of, it was a piece of clay that grew dry and cracked and broke, and then this gorgeous, adorable, okay, and I say adorable because it really was, adorable snake moved through. It was like a little, like a moonstone colored snake, pop its head through and then go up on top of this pile of clay, and the snake is sitting there really ready, and I heard the words like what are you doing? And then the snake said, I'm waiting. And then this other voice said, waiting for what? And the snake said, waiting for a moment. I had to shed skin to get here. I had to come out of the comfort zone to get here. But now I'm ready and I'm waiting for a moment to, and then I saw it pounce. So I just saw it on the timer there. I'm real excited to see what comes through, because that to me is a lot of transformation vibes, stepping out of your comfort zone to achieve or manifest beyond what you have up to this point. Amazing. Let's see what your animal energy is for first half of the season. Thank you. The snake's also about healing as well. It's like achieving completing a healing cycle to move on to the next chapter. Or perhaps some of you have life work as healers, right? Ooh, moth at the bottom here. Gorgeous. Also about healing energy. Oh, whoa. Capricorns. Okay, so a lot of water going on here, my lovely Capricorns. So you've got the fish here, and then you have the whale. So let's start with the whale here. Very rarely do I get two. I love it when it happens, though. The whale is very, very much about emotion, feeling, esoteric wisdom, right? But the whale for me is very much about having a healthy relationship and access to one's emotional inner life. When you work with whale energy and achieve emotional alignment within this context, you will see the benefit in all of your relationships really, really quickly. This is where you want to be in terms of emotional alignment at all times, right? I would say that the counter energy to the whale, just to make it a bit more comprehensive, would be the scorpion. An out of alignment scorpion versus an in alignment whale energy, right? Like the scorpion energy, it's like, wow, can blame others for its feelings, can sting itself, can sting you. It's like really whack-a-mole and dangerous, a little scary to come up against, right? The whale is just like very much also about the sound and the power and the healing power of music, right? Beautiful. Then you have the fish here. Okay, yeah, we are coming into Mercury in retrograde. They want me to talk about that. I will. So the fish energy here, it means a few different things. On one hand, it's very much about fertility. There's this old adage where I cannot believe what culture it comes, probably more than one, where if you have a dream of fish, that means either yourself or someone in your family is going to be pregnant with new life, right? So it absolutely represents fertility, but it also represents, for me, the fish is very much about following the path of least resistance and truly going with the flow. And I feel like that's what this is about. I feel like this is very much a handbook or a blueprint or an instructional manual about how most fluidly to move through the upcoming energies here, right? I just heard it ain't no skin off my back, which is funny, or you considering the meditation I did for you guys with the snake shedding its skin and being ready. Right? They want me to talk really, so this new moon in Scorpio that we just had, some of you watching who set manifestations around that new moon, that was the exact right time to do so. Just bringing that up. I feel like some of you are going to be seeing the benefit of that manifestation. Okay. All right. What's going on for Capricorns? Maiden Mother Crone. There is something about cycles. Cycles moving from something about transmutation and cycles and going from one place to another as fluidly as possible. You got the freaking Magician, darlings. I'm kind of obsessed with this because your last reading was, I think I titled it Season of the Witch. And now you have the Magician, which is like the male energy, right? I'm so obsessed with this. So this is really about, this isn't just understanding that you have all the tools at your disposal to manifest the life which you desire. This is about picking them up and using them, right? Did this come up in your last read? I'm not sure if you got the Magician last night. I was feeling very familiar. But yeah, this is the past, present, the past energy that can influence the present. Yeah, no, interesting. And the infinity symbol. Okay. This Magician coming up for you here, I do feel like you've been in a place, the majority of you, where you're like, okay, I'm going to be active, right? Because this Magician energy is about taking action. It's a masculine energy, getting stuff done, making moves, right? And I keep going back to your meditation with that beautiful moonstone snake, where it was like, okay, I'm ready to take action, but only when it's the right time to do so. But I had to shut my skin and step outside of the comfort zone to do this. But this Magician energy here is really, really gorgeous and shows you in a place of strength and power and movement and action, which is really, really nice, right? This is the opposite of I am a victim of circumstances, right? So I love it for that reason, for sure. I keep getting forget-me-nots. That could be for some of you. Something about forget-me-nots. Ooh, okay. Page of Cups. Back to this fish, this oceanic energy here. Love it. So Page of Cups, so sweet. So the pages are about a newer, younger, initial energy, right? Before they graduate to the knight and the queen and king and so on and so forth. So this Page of Cups coming up here, I really feel like is about, and I do feel, again with this ocean, okay, they want me to talk about that. So the ocean represents, the unknown, right? The unknown, everything that can come from embracing the unknown. We, after all of this time and science and all of these expeditions and searching out these hidden realms of the deep blue sea, we still don't know, what's the depths of these oceans, because there's so much there. And for that reason, it really does represent the unknown here. And I feel like this is linking up with your meditation where it was like I had to come outside of comfort zone to get here. And finding comfort within the discomfort, but also feeling at home in the unknown. It's more than just embracing it. It's feeling at home with the unknown, because there's something on the other side of that is truly magnificent and magical and greater and larger and more fantastical than you could even imagine from your human perspective, right? Because the Page of Cups traditionally, this can be someone coming towards you of an emotional nature with emotional conversations, someone teaming up to work with you, water sign energy here as well, right? But this is the beginning of something that is emotional in nature, right? Emotional in nature, which is another way of saying it involves the heart chakra or activates the heart chakra, right? So go ahead and see what else is going on. Oh, I mean, you know what? Death is at the bottom here. Just talking about that full moon in Scorpio, the new moon, thank you very much, in Scorpio that we just had, and about those of you who really took advantage of that and, really set some intentions. I feel like this is coming up again to say as a special note for those of you who did that. You're going to see the bounty of that. It was a really good time. You got the Queen of Cups here, which is just like, yes, let's keep going with this imagery here of the deep blue sea. The Queen of Cups, this is an incredibly intuitive woman. She is the most intuitive queen of all the queens. She's also a really ideal partner, actually. She's a really ideal partner because she's what? Emotionally balanced. Emotionally balanced. I feel like especially with the fish and the whale and the ocean and going with the flow and fertility and, the whale here, I feel like some of you guys, and you have been cognizant of this or not. Look, we got the devil here. We got you right here, Capricorn. There's something here about you be surprised or not surprised to hear or learn or know that your emotions, I don't want to say that they've been whack-a-mole, like all over the place. I don't exactly want to say that. but I feel like you have an opportunity here to allow your emotions to work for you as a superpower. You know, it's kind of another way to talk about empaths for those of you who are empaths, and I know that some of you watching this are empaths. I just feel it, especially because the Queen of Cups is an empath. She's just all over this reading, right? Oh, hold on, I'll get back to that. But if you look at the empath, it's like they understand an empath in alignment, right? Not a put upon empath. They're like, why is this happening at me? But, you know, magician, like being an active co-creator in your gifts and abilities and given circumstances. An empath in alignment realizes that, you know, it really is a superpower, being able to feel other people's feelings as your own. And it really, 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 really is. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with that so that you don't, you know, overdo it and take things home that are not yours and hold them in your body and all that good stuff. But, okay, they're pointing this out to me, and this is really insane. Look at this. Look at this. Get back over here, Queen. Slippery and sliding. Okay, we have the Magician here. Masculine for energy, right? Then we have the Page of Cups, who's literally a little girl holding a fish in the ocean. And then we have the Queen of Cups over here. I do feel like for some of you guys, there's new life emerging. I feel like, okay, that's weird. I split the deck and I got the Empress. Is she upside down? The Empress and the Fool, which is about kids. I do feel like for some of you, okay, I feel like this is going to be a couple different things. On one hand, I'm hearing from the mouth of babes. So for those of you who have children, I feel like they're going to be a beautiful example for you coming up here if you just observe them about how their emotions exist within them at a young age. Because it's before we get into adulthood that we get all jaded and we really, you know, hold those feelings in and, strong men don't cry and all of that crap and, you know, all that good stuff. But there's something about, because there is a freedom of emotion within a lot of children, right? If they feel, you know, sad or frustrated, oh, there go the tears. You know what I mean? They just have really easy access. Not every child, but the majority of children have a beautiful facility around their emotions and don't necessarily judge themselves around emotions that they have, like we as adults can and or want to do. Right? So on one hand, I feel like the clue is in kind of like, okay, to achieve the whale position and the fish position and move through this time fluidly, it's about, yeah, let's work with our emotions and be co-creators with that information. Because remember remember, intuition and emotion, they hold hands like this. They need each other to work for us, really, right? They're two things. Think about when you talk about, you know, intuitive insight, I feel this, right? If you don't have full access to your emotions, you don't have full access to your intuitive abilities. Period. If there's healing to do around that, the more healing you do on an emotional level and from an emotional sphere, it's only going to amp your intuitive abilities to where you're like, whoa. For those of you who are intuitive watching this is you've only uncovered like of what your real abilities are. I say real abilities, I mean your potential. Something in that. Now, for another group of you, yes, pregnancy. It is here, pregnancy. But again, we can look at this as literal pregnancy for those of you who are like, oh yeah, I've been feeling that. Or it can be, you know, pregnancy of a rebirth of yourself. You know, if you think about the snake as well in your meditation, where it's like I had to shed skin to get here, there is something about fresh new chapter here. But it really is about getting to a place where it's like, oh yeah. Emotions are superpower. They're not something to be pushed down and I'll deal with this another day. They're actually superpower. And I think the wheel's coming up here too is during this emotional evaluation of oneself. So I do feel like this is a time for, being kind of a Queen of Swords about it, where you're really looking at some emotions that maybe have been on the back burner that you haven't fully accessed, just like, you know, the entirety of the ocean, right? What is in that unknown and the subconscious and the unconscious that may be come up for healing and release? Because I'm telling you, there's like this whole idea of you really get to the core of those things. This could be inner child, wounds, a lot. I mean, come on, like who doesn't have inner child wounds for the most part? Inner child wounds, even wounds that haven't even, it hasn't even been too long, but that we've kind of compartmentalized for survival. It's time, like, no, let's let's really get to this good stuff here, because it's almost, I see this image of this hidden treasure of like a box of gold that is like Captain Planet. With our powers combined, we are Captain Planet. It's like you have all the elements here, right, to manifest exactly what you want, right? But it's like you only have access to half of it until this emotional healing work is done and really excavating and it's really, again, about being that Queen of Swords and really looking at things clearly and almost dispassionately. It sounds counterintuitive because it's like, okay, dispassionately look at, what healing needs to be done around your emotional life. But it is. But that's what I'm getting here. They're far for the Magician. Do you have faith that everything's as it's meant to be? Or do you feel the need to control? Question to you. King of Cups here, matched to the Queen of Cups. Hey, those look like snakes. Hi, Six of Wands. I absolutely love this. So Six of Wands, to clarify the Magician. So this is public victory. This is acknowledgement, recognition. This is public victory that makes you feel good on the inside, or this is inner victory after doing the work that others can see on the outside. Like, hey, you look extra glowy. Have you ever had a really, really good cry? And then maybe not, maybe for everybody, but you have a really good cry, and then it not just feels like you've lost pounds, but you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, well, yeah, I look like I've been crying, but my face looks more relaxed. I feel like the energy's more open, right? There's something to that, right? Because there's this feeling here of like maintaining a pretty firm grip on the steering wheel. And there's this thing of like, okay, let's just warp it and go liquid and really be a water sign about all of this. A water sign in alignment. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, having full victory and facility over, creating the life that you want. And this is, by the way, the past energy that can come in and inform the... Do you see this rabbit here? I guess he's more of the hair. You see the hair here? Rabbits also represent fertility here. And then we've got the Six of Wands. It's really weird, but I'm getting the Devil. I'm getting your card again. I understand. Okay, so the thing with you guys being represented by the Devil key, you guys as Capricorns, inherently, I'm not saying this is for everybody, but this is what your sign represents, okay? Inherently, Capricorns represent everything of the 3D. Everything that we can touch and feel and show me the money. And, it's everything of the 3D world, which is the exact opposite of the Queen of Cups, which is actually the exact opposite of its neighbor, the Aquarius, right? Aquarius is all about the esoteric and the metaphysical and the high priestess and all of that good stuff. And then you as a Capricorn, it's like a lot of your journey as a Capricorn is to really transcend this physical realm, right? Those of you who are healers and intuitives and mystics, you really understand this, but you're really being called to step outside of your natural element and step into the deep waters and really be in that landscape. If you're watching this and going, oh, I already do that, not as much as you have the potential to moving forward. There's like a potential for an upgrade here, okay? Page of Cups. We don't have that much longer left of this 3-year that we're in. They're kind of saying capitalize upon the rest of the 3-year that we are in, okay? Which means when things are good, they're really great, and when they're not, they're really not, which means it's a year of extremes. So use the rest of this 3-year energy to your benefit. Instead of just going, I can't wait for 20. Give me that 4-year of stability, right? But that's what I'm getting. Again, King of Cups on the bottom here. To clarify the Page of Cups, you got the freaking moon, which I'm completely obsessed with. I have been talking about the new moon in Scorpio this entire reading. The moon here, guess what? Is very much about what? The unknown, right? And psychic intuitive feeling. This represents Pisces, right? Water signs. There really is something to that. You're really being called to be a water sign right now. I mean, from this to the whale to the fish, to the Page of Cups to the Queen of Cups. I mean, what else is there? You know, it's interesting. You might, there's something here about a lone wolf versus a pack wolf as well, right? There is a wolfy vibe here. Why do I feel like the wolf is associated with Capricorn or January? Is that a thing? That's the vision that I'm getting for you. It's like, be a water sign that you can come out and be the earth sign that you are and step into that wolf vibe and just really come from it. Because if you think about it, a wolf represents intuition and instinct as well. But it's like the earth version, right? That's like the on-land version, because wolf is all about listening to your intuition. It's like the on-land version of the whale. So it's like, step into that whale watery energy so that you can emerge the wolf and be a, land-bound representation of intuition and instinct, walking around on land, of your element, right? Can you guys get real watery here? Can you guys do it? I feel like that's what you're being called to do right now. All right. Queen of Cups. Let's get a clarifier. Miss Intuitive Queen over here. Oh, that's what I was going to say too. Fool on the bottom. Hey. That's what I was going to say too. The Magician, this is very fiery energy here. It's very active. It's very hot, right? And it's like, yeah, I'm going to make moves. And then we get into the water, which is about being more passive and receiving and doing work in another way, right? So it's like you're going through the fiery time and now you're being called to kind of slow your roll a little bit. This is slow here. This is slow energy here, okay? So especially if you've been doing the most, you're being called to kind of slow your roll a little bit. Because then you got the Two of Pentacles. Look at this ocean imagery here. I'm living for it. And also, we can take this literally. Those of you who have access to bodies of water, but particularly the ocean, that's going to be so beautiful for you right now. It's going to be very healing. And those of you that don't, listen, a salt bath can work wonders and really connect you in. You can create your own saltwater haven, right? Especially for empaths. It's really important. Salt bath will remove anyone's energies that's not your own, okay? Now, the Two of Pentacles here is straight juggling. It's true juggling, right? But do you know another interpretation or another added context of the Two of Pentacles that people don't, remark on too regularly or too often, is that the Two of Pentacles is also about incoming messages. Incoming messages of all kinds, right? From your guides, from your team. It also speaks of incoming messages because we are dealing with the Pentacles, like writing, messages in writing, which nowadays is what, like email, text, right? But this is a lot of abundance coming in that requires the juggle, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, oh, problems of abundance. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta juggle my situation, right? And I like this energy for you. And how better to step, what could be better than stepping into this, but I say that like lightly, like, this abundance coming in here than through a place of intuition and realm of emotionality, right? Because I'm going to tell you something that's coming up here for you. And I feel it very, very inherently. There is something coming towards you. This is always for a reason, right? It's not go slow, put on some slow jams and really just really go to the depths and don't be afraid to open those doors of some emotional to-dos that have been on the list for quite some time, right? I'm telling you, there's something coming towards you here in this future energy that you're going to want to have done this homework for. It's the difference between, do you want to have this emotional homework done before, or do you want to have to do it like in the face of this? That's what it is. There is something coming towards you here where I feel like you're going to be getting a lot of offers and a lot of propositions. I'm also drawn to the fact that he's on land, by water, Capricorn, and Pisces. This is exactly what I was saying with the wolf here, right? And it's like, oh, I'm doing a balancing act between water and earth and water and earth. If you think about it, water and earth, water replenishes the earth. Water and earth as signs work well together, whether in partnership or friendship, or they just do. Whereas air and fire work well because air, promotes fire and causes it to build and breathe. The fire needs air, right? Whereas, the earth needs water, right? So, and I'm not saying that water signs don't work with air signs or fire signs can't work with earth signs. Just saying, depending on the other placements, it can be challenging And it's just a different kind of, reality than linking up with another sign that supports your element inherently, right? But this is the only pentacle we got representing your earth sign selves here, and it is the juggle. I really do feel like there's a lot coming towards you that you are going to be required to feel through what is in your best and highest good and what is not, right? This isn't Queen of Swords coming up here, although I felt her earlier, I believe. This is really about, I'm going to feel through which of these, offers or propositions are highest and best good. I do feel like for a lot of you, they're work propositions. And for others, it's partnership propositions, where it's like, do you want to work together on a possible connection, right? Expect the unexpected. I just heard expect the unexpected. Someone might very well surprise you, and I feel like it's going to be when you're looking this way and then they're going to come up from the side door. Okay, let's get a goddess for you guys. I'm obsessed. Okay, Bast, independent. Your independence is a foundation for your strength and success. So I'm really obsessed with this. Bast coming in here, especially around this emotional work that we've been looking at, and the fertility and the potential and these untapped, superpowers and the empaths and all of this good stuff here, and you getting a lot of offers and wanting to be in a place of emotional health and clarity to discern which ones are yours, right? With this juggling act here. Bast is such a beautiful energy to come up for you because they're drawing attention to the fact that she is the goddess associated with felines, right? With cats. And they're drawing attention to, how cats are different than dogs, right? Again, I'm not speaking in, this is how it is for every cat and every dog. But for the most part, dogs are a lot less discerning in who they approach than cats are. Cats don't always come when they're called, right? Some do, but it's more rare. Hold on. So some cats, it's just like, no, I'm going to live life and I'll come over to you when I desire and then I'll leave when I desire, and don't try to hold me or put me where I don't want to be. I will move at my own pace and practice divine selfishness. Cats are perfect at practicing divine selfishness. They really, really are, which is very different than egoic selfishness. Whereas dogs are just like, yeah, you want to be a friend? You want to be a friend? Right? Going back to kind of wolf energy here too. But it's that difference. And how the dog energy is more masculine with like, let's go play, let's go. And the cat energy is more feminine, where she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna chill and receive and be in my own energy and all of that good stuff, right? The cat moves at a much slower pace than the dog. Therefore, they pick up a lot more. Going back to this Queen of Cups and this Two of Pentacles, right? That's what you're being called to do. This is like the feminine personified as well, where it's like, okay. Right? Also, I got to bring it up. Traditionally, or at least in culture, right? It's like cats are absolutely associated with those witchy ladies, with the cunning women, right? Why is that? Because they do represent intuition, okay? Beautiful Capricorns, this is something that you must do on your own independently as well, with the help of your guides, but this is not a group activity. This isn't calling mama and going, can we talk? I have emotional things that I want. No. This is something you must do for and by yourself. And again, back to how do I do that? The best lubricant there is music and time and quiet, right? Meaning the quiet of your own space without the limitations of a clock. This is not something you do in the 15 minutes before you have to go to work. This can be a long weekend. This can be a series of weekends. This is going to be different for everyone. But I'm also hearing for you guys to be very aware and cognizant of what you're drawn to, like books that come up that are recommended more than once, or books that just kind of pop up in your atmosphere, or songs, or whatever that is, because Spirit is coming in and sending you tools and resources around this mission, as it were. So be very open and receptive to that as well, okay? All right, beautiful Capricorns. With that being said, I so hope that this helped and resonated. You absolutely got this. If so, please let me know in the comments below. I would just love that. And with that being said, just thank you so much for being here. And as always, thank you for being you. And be well. Until next time.